Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and welcome to the Rational League. Missed this show, of course. We haven't done it for a week. One of the best shows on YouTube. You have to admit it. One of the most rational from everyone but me on YouTube, of course. Everyone but me on YouTube. Big up everybody that joined us. Of course, you know the drill. It's YouTube. We have to speak about Arsenal. Otherwise, we won't have anything to speak about 100%. You have to talk about Saka being fit or not. Yeah, it's news, believe it or not. Saka's fit. Martinelli's having an MRI scan. They said he's okay, but Saka is fit. So he's going to play Bournemouth. That's the news about Arsenal, of course. I'm going to have actually a video later also talking about Arsenal, about an interview that Arteta did in 2020, and it was fascinating to watch that interview. So I need to react to that because it actually showed how much he absolutely improved the team and what he had as a vision and all this stuff. I know we're going to talk about Arsenal, of course, but actually we're not going to start with Arsenal, people. We're going to start with Man United. Thomas Tuchel is pressuring Manchester United. We had this argument and debate on Straight Fact with Terry and HUSAM. Of course, if you haven't watched that show, go like and subscribe there to Football Terrace, of course, and watch the show. It's about, do Man United need a Thomas Tuchel, or they need a project manager, or they need an Amarim? What do they need? We'll talk about that as well. Maresca, manager of the month. Does he deserve it? Is he good? Is he actually, has he proven everyone wrong yet? Has everyone changed their mind? Or it's only 7 games? We'll talk about that as well. He changed the expectations. We know that. And also, who can be an MVP for a team? Is it Foden or Palmer? Believe it or not, we're not including Saka in this for some reason. Hit that like button. Of course, I'm here with Rory, Dan, and Tom, and the one and only is here. Of course, he's here. He's late, but he's great. As always, it's Nobbins is here.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
great. He's great.
My cat is ill, and I was on the phone to the vet, so we'll be having less of that. Yeah?
Sorry to hear that.
What a pussy. Ah ha ha. Comedy.
All right. So anyway, listen, people, hit that like button. If you joined the show, if you're watching this in the replay, make sure to hit that like button. I know I haven't streamed for 2 days, so I need your help. Hit that like button to get the algorithms back. If you're watching this on the replay, hit that like button, of course. Get your opinions in the chat because we want to know them. Where do we start, actually? I actually really want to get... We don't have a Man United fan, but I want to get the opinion about Man United. Project manager versus and here now. And the best one to actually speak about this is Dan, since he had Thomas Tuchel as his manager before. The argument of Thomas Tuchel, here and now, let's fix Man United tomorrow, versus let's get an Amorim, a Thomas Frank, a long-term project. First, do you actually think that Thomas Tuchel can fix Man United, can put them back on track as quickly as possible?
I think he'd do a better job than what Ten Hag's doing in terms of the football that's
you
being
will do a better
played.
job than Hag. It's...
Yeah, but the hang on, but the only thing
I totally believe that, guys, right? Like
the only thing I'll say is that
that.
although he might do a better job than Ten Hag, I don't think he'll win more trophies than what Ten Hag's winning. Like maybe a European one, but Ten Hag's still won a League Cup and an FA Cup. It's not like he's not winning trophies.
Exactly.
Manager.
Hold on, Dan. Every time someone comes with this narrative, I lose my head that he won trophies.
He's the second most successful manager behind Pep.
He has won trophies, and Thomas Tuchel will be in the job to do exactly the same.
He will do the same.
The likelihood of Thomas Tuchel winning Manchester United the league with this current squad if he was there for 2 years, 3 years, I'm not sure it happens. I don't think that's long enough. Because there's a lot of recruitment needed to improve that squad to probably be good enough to win the Premier League title. I think they're going to need a project manager, but I think Manchester United have been lost since Sir Alex Ferguson left. I think they're craving that type of manager again, someone that is given full control of the football club, some very good coaches, and is there for a long duration of time. And I just don't see many managers in world football that sort of fit that mold for me.
I mean, you're not going to get another Sir Alex Ferguson, so they need to.
You're not. That's what I mean. And they're lost. They've been lost looking for that guide since he's gone. They have to move on, but I don't think they know in which direction. They've tried managers who have better records than Tuchel.
I'm not following then. So Ten Hag was successful or not successful? Could you just hear me out? Then was he successful?
Who?
Ten Hag.
Yeah, he's won trophies. I don't think I actually
hold on now.
Say that Ten Hag hasn't been successful is I think if you went back to some of his earlier interviews, I'm probably sure that he would have said that this wasn't the style of football that he'd be looking to get his team playing. But he would have said he was going to try and win the trophies, and I don't think he'd be happy with his league position either.
Okay, can I ask you something? Who has been more successful, Erik Ten Hag or Mikel Arteta?
Ten Hag. Because he has,
you know the problem is. You know what the problem
is?
Depends
what you measure. Depends what you measure success.
Okay, hold on. And then people ask me, why do you bring it back to Arsenal? I'm gonna explain why do I compare Mikel Arteta. Apart from Pep Guardiola on the side, right? Because he's winning league and Champions League and treble, so I can't just put Pep Guardiola. The two longest serving managers at the current moment in a top club is Mikel Arteta and Erik Ten Hag. We all agree, right? The longest serving man. One of them comes second, top 6 club. Top 6, guys. Top 6. Please, keyword here. Keyword. One of them took a team from a team that is under Emery, completely changed the team, got a new team, got them challenging, got them as a contender for the Champions League and the Premier League, have some of the best players in the world that all the top clubs would like to sign. And someone won 2 cups, yes, but finished 8th. Horrific. Everyone is going backwards. Didn't challenge for the league or come even close to win the league. His name is not even mentioned. The club's name is not mentioned to win trophies in the next 2-3 years. Everyone lost hope. Fan base in disarray. Ownership don't know what they can do with this guy. And you want to tell me that because he won a cup and an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup and finished Yes, third, and finished 8th, and broke the record in the worst start of the club's history. He's still better than Mikel Arteta, or did a better job because he won the 2 cups. Now I put it out for you, which is I didn't say anything but the facts. And
Do you know as well? So effectively, because they've both won an FA Cup, so that kind of cancels each other out. So then it's basically you're saying Carabao Cup versus back-to-back second place
massive
finishes.
Massive trophy, Carabao Cup.
Yeah. Carabao Cup versus back-to-back second place finishes and high-quality Champions League football.
And rebuilding the structure and identity of the club.
Thank you so much, Nobin. That's people forget that.
And preparing the club for the next decade in a very good place.
Yeah, but Pochettino did that at Spurs, and he wasn't successful.
He didn't win any trophies.
He didn't win anything.
No,
but he still rebuilt the club.
Pochettino,
put it in a good place.
Pochettino was. Can I counter that? Pochettino was successful. You sit on panels with Spurs fans today on the football terrace, on here, on Dan Potts' show, right? On Saeed's show, because of Pochettino and the global fan base that grew with Pochettino success.
Hold on.
No,
Harry Redknapp had them in Champions League.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you what.
Bale.
Consistently Pochettino did. Yes, Harry Redknapp took him there. Juan de Ramos won them a trophy. The one that I measure how a club, I know that the trophies at the end, you want to win the Premier League and the Champions League. Cups are not, for me, not as important. But you grow your fan base, you grow your commercial value by consistently being close to the top. Why do you think Arsenal fans nowadays, in the last 2-3 years, have come back and everyone is hearing them? And because they're close to the top. Yes, at the end, then you want to win, of course. If Arteta doesn't win, he succeeded in only one aspect, which is rebuilding, and he failed in the win.
Arsenal was such a big club, Mo, that their success is managed on winning. Tottenham, their success is measured differently. We all know that.
And that's why I say
so when we're talking about the most successful club in England being Manchester United, their success is judged. It's Liverpool, okay, but wasn't it on a League Cup or something like that? They've got more league titles. Okay, well, either way, one of the biggest clubs, because we're talking about one or two, and I think there's one trophy in it. And Manchester United have more league titles in their own country. So in this country, they're slightly more successful. Is that not right? Tom's going to let me know.
I think it's down to FA Cups and Community Shields. That's
right, yeah.
That closes off.
So Manchester United and Liverpool are judged on winning. When Liverpool weren't doing well enough, they were frustrated that they weren't winning. The same with Manchester United. When Tottenham were coming back and trying to become a top 4, top 6 club, they were being judged on how close they could get to that. Manchester United have to win trophies, and Ten Hag has done that. But I don't think Ten Hag's style of football, how he's improved this playing squad, how he's improved Manchester United as a club is a success. But if you're looking at what he's won in terms of football-related rewards, that's a success. He has won trophies.
So if
he's taking the club backwards.
That's it. I wanted to put it in
because he won more trophies. He's won more trophies than Ollie.
But look at where the club is. Like
the players.
I don't know. I don't know if that's Ten Hag's fault. Full stop. I think the Glazers have an awful lot to do
what the United fans want. This is the thing. This is the problem that United fans have.
Why do you think Man United fans are not happy then? Can someone answer me this?
No, because
what Dan is saying is right.
Because of how the Glazers have treated their club.
And Man United fans are not happy, and they're winning.
Manchester United fans aren't happy because of how the Glazers have mistreated their club for the number of years that they've been there. For the staff that have been hired. Hang on, Mo. For the staff, they aren't happy because they literally made a Phoenix club. And some of their 92 players also bought into another club in Manchester to compete against them. So they're not happy.
They
some of their greatest ever players moan every single week. Huh?
Not because they finished 8th, not because every player that goes to Man United goes backward, not because they have no idea when are they going to challenge again.
No, because because they still beat Manchester City in an FA Cup final, which is the second biggest competition in England.
I reckon if you...
This is not an indication that, I swear, if Enzo Maresca finished 8th and has the worst start and he wins the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, a majority of the Chelsea fans will be, get out of the club, finishing in the league. Oli even said it. Your progress in the league is absolutely the measurement of how you are improving and the progress of your club.
But
because
it's
you can
still
finish
success.
10th.
Like it's still success though. He still won trophies at Manchester United.
I would argue otherwise. I would argue that that Erik ten Hag's time at Man United is a failure, not a success, because he took the club backwards to the point that it would require a complete rebuild
How
for
did,
them
how
to
did,
go
how
back
did,
to
how
the
did the
top.
club go backwards? Let's not forget the situation that he
The
took
club,
over.
yeah, the club was in a worse position. I don't know if it's in a worse position, but
Worst position before
they
Ten
weren't
Hag.
exactly winning trophies under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, were they?
No, because
No, but
everyone
they're
thinks that
further away now than
everyone
they were then.
everyone's acting that
Way
No,
behind
they
now.
no. Everyone's acting like the United that Ten Hag
They
took
weren't
over was the
great,
United that no, they weren't great, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the United that finished second and got to a Europa League final. This was the United that had spent the second half of the season under Rangnick stinking it up with so many fucking problems behind the scenes. You've got to understand
Yeah,
this
but
about
the
United.
end of Oli was shit. Yes, 100%.
And the whole bit
and they've won
afterwards
2
where they brought in
trophies since.
Rangnick was shit as well. It was an entirely shit season. And let's be honest, the second place finish was a false position by the fact that Chelsea had a shit season and changed manager halfway through. If they'd had Tuchel at the start of the season and finished top, they'd have finished second. We had no fucking fit centre backs for 3/4 of the season, and yet we still only finished 5 points behind them. It was a second place finish where they capitalised on other teams not reaching the levels. I mean, Tottenham fell off a cliff in the second half of the season. They were top for halfway through the season. The thing you've got to understand about United is this. Manchester United of old should not be judged by FA Cups and League Cups. United of old, United, the institution, should have been judged by Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues, the biggest club competitions in the world. But this is all about Tuchel. Thomas Tuchel, in 3 years, because that's the longest he spent at a club, 3 good years, is not going to turn Manchester United into Premier League winners or Champions League winners. So there is no point in making that deal because Tuchel, yes, he gives you 3 good years, but he's another Conte. The state of the squad he leaves behind takes 2 to 3 years to recover from anyway. So this is the problem that United have. They have to understand where they are now. They are not in a position within the next 3 years to be challenging for league titles. Minimum. They don't have the squad for it. They don't even have the squad to finish in the top 4 this season. Arguably not even top 6, you could argue, when you look at the state of Villa. You look at all that. What the fuck is Tuchel going to do if he comes in? He's a good manager. He's not a miracle worker. He is not going to win that team a league title. There is no point in bringing in a winning manager if you are not going to be in a position to win, unless United fans now accept Carabao Cups and FA Cups as a marker of success for their club, which the last 25 years under Fergie was about moving up above that to, knocking Liverpool off their pitch, becoming the most successful club in England. You do that by winning league titles and Champions Leagues. If United fans have accepted that they, for the next 7 to 8 to 10 years, their level is Carabao Cup, FA Cup. If that is their level, then that's fine.
I think
if they want more, they can't go
to little bro in Man United. I love it.
I think we do this thing though. I think we do this thing where we take a group of players performing the way they are under a current manager and say that's not a group of players that can get top 4. Like currently the way they play under Ten Hag, sure, that's not a squad that gets top 4. But if you saying that the individual players aren't capable of doing it, look at the way that a lot of them go and play on international duty. Like if Tuchel can get Portugal Bruno Fernandes, not Ten Hag United Bruno Fernandes. Same with Lisandro Martinez. All of these players have looked good at other clubs. So, I think that squad is capable of getting top 6 or top 4 if a manager can get a tune out of them. Ten Hag just can't get a tune out of them.
Disagree. I really think that United squad is over.
I agree with Tom because I think everyone went back. The names might be, but I think actually there are some players that are beyond repair because they have been coached a lot of time under this guy Ten Hag.
No, that's not just on Ten Hag. Whilst those players have gone backwards,
it's a lot of the whole thing. Yeah, I agree with
you. Can argue that the majority of players that Manchester United have signed in recent years are players that have been on decline and have left their clubs that they were at. Like, look at Casemiro, Varane, Mason Mount. These are players that were in decline or players that were way too highly regarded for what they'd actually achieved in football. Players like Højlund, who had scored 9 goals and moved for the money that he did. Xerxes, another one potentially that has moved for a lot of money and hasn't got too much to his name in terms of what he's done in professional football.
But again, he looks horrific at United compared to how he looks in the national team or how he looked last season.
Well,
But-
yeah,
and that
and you
has to
are
be
right,
unpacked.
Rory, because
It-
they're
it-
much more settled environments and settled squads, which makes it way easier to fit in and adapt.
It's
to,
also
which
not
Ten Hag,
necessarily just
Ten Hag has
the
failed
manager.
at making that environment at Manchester United a
It's
comfortable
also
place
not
for new
just
players to bed into.
yeah.
But he hasn't
It's also not
failed in
just
winning
that, though.
trophies.
International football's slower. International football is a different game to the Premier League. A lot. I mean, it's an old adage, but it still rings true. The Premier League is one of the fastest leagues in the world. You can play well for your national team, comes to the Premier League and you're off the pace because that's just how it is. I look at that United squad, and it's not. It certainly doesn't touch any of the Liverpool, Arsenal, City. I think we can laugh before they try and put their squad in those comparisons. Chelsea, I think Chelsea have a better squad. But sheer amount of depth is one thing, but also I do think Chelsea there is a lot of quality in certain areas. Tottenham, that's probably your closest comparison because I think Villa have a better squad. I really do. I really think Villa have a better squad than United. I think Tottenham is your closest comparison, and Tottenham are just a more well-settled unit. And you saw that, obviously, whatever manager comes in might settle down United and you might see better levels. But I don't think you can put United best place. I can put them as sixth best squad in the league. That's the best I can do. I can't justify above Villa. I can't justify above Chelsea. I can't justify against any of Arsenal, Liverpool, City.
But can I add something to what you said? And here is me backing Dan in what he says. I think Thomas Tuchel comes to this team, will fix the hole momentarily. Like temporary, he will fix the holes. They will get better. They'll get better this year. They'll get better next year. They might actually win the Europa League with him. And he might get something better out of Xerxes Højlund for a bit. But I have no evidence in suggesting that Thomas Tuchel long-term will fix this team. Like, I have no evidence. Based on his history, I have no evidence. But I have evidence that he fixed
talking
Chelsea.
About Man United with Europa League. This is the problem. We understand. We understand that that's the
level.
Yes, we understand that, but United fans don't, because United fans, and it doesn't help with the media. I will say this: the stuff like the Stick to Football podcast, where it's every week it's an ex-United player going on about the glory days of Fergie. It keeps that old standard in United fans' heads. A lot of United fans can't accept the fact that they are in their phase where Europa League is their level. That is where they're at. That their squad is Europa League level. And I, for the life of me, if United wanted to get back to where they think they should be, based on historical success, hiring Thomas Tuchel is not the way to go. Hiring Thomas Tuchel is a fling.
I think
it's a fling.
But we've all just sat here and acknowledged there is no option. There is no option that is going to bring them back quick success because the club is decayed for that long. Like there is no who. There's no one to bring in because there's no elite, proven project manager.
I want to go back to something, Rory, that Tom said, and I want to get Nobbins and yours opinion on this as well, since you two are challenging for the title. Liverpool are there, which is Tom already expresses his that thing that Tom said about they have to accept that the club's level at the current moment is Europa League. Every time I speak to a Man United fan, they fight that notion. They fight back. They say, no, we're big Man United. We aren't. We shouldn't. We should aim higher. Can we just, is that something that they need to accept, that the club where they are now is just a level behind the elite teams? And your history does not justify or does not give you an entitlement to be aiming higher. There will be a long way for you to go to actually be close to that top again. Because apparently, yes, they agree that there's a long way to go, but they can't agree that the level now is just this. This is where we are. Some people have rationale and they say, yeah, we need years. But some people say, no, we're good to go. We can take it 2 years and we can be good. We need just a good manager. I don't know which one is right. Nobbins, if you can.
I've been saying this for a couple of years now. I feel like it doesn't help to have this image in your head of what you are when that isn't what you are. So these standards which existed generations ago, we're getting to a point now where it's transcending generations now. These standards don't exist anymore. It's a different time. It's a different era. Football is cyclical. You can't always be in the sun every single season. Sometimes you'll have to live in the shade. And whether United fans like it or not, they have been living in the shade for like over 10 years now with these weird ideas of grandeur, if that's the right word. And what have they achieved in that time from a quote, this is Man United perspective? What's their biggest achievement? It's our Europa League. These aren't the titles that we associate with this paradigm of what United was. I think it makes more sense to not be shit for like 5 years or whatever, but to just have a sort of acceptance that for the next maybe 3 years, you might have to dial it in a bit on spending loads of money on all these players who just don't work out. Big money on transfer fees, big money on wages, etc. Maybe look more to your youth setup, and that doesn't mean that United turn into a team that finishes 12th. But it just means that there is a more long-term plan put in place, which might take 5 years. So maybe for the next 4 years, the highest place you'll finish is like 5th, for example. But maybe anything higher than that is a bonus. But maybe you just accept that for the next few years, right, we need to rebuild, we need to reset, we need to start again. And surely that's a far healthier mindset over a longer period than just, no, we need to aim high every single time. It's all well and good aiming high, but if you don't have the tools to do it, and they clearly don't have the tools to do it, then you're just setting yourself up for failure every single season. And then where's the growth? Where's the development? What's the point? So that would be my conclusion on that. Not accept that you're mediocre, but accept that in the short term you are, but in the long term you don't have to be. But the right plan needs to be put into place. That's my take on it.
Yeah, like for me, Man United are miles behind the Arsenal, Liverpool, and even Chelsea. Of course, Man City. I think there is not even a comparison between the two clubs, to be honest, at the current moment. But Man United fans need to accept where they are. Man United fans need to accept that the Fergie era might not come back ever again. That amount of titles that you won might not come back, and just this is where you are now. Like I'm just saying, Villa might be ahead of them as a team now. Might be ahead of them, which is where they are now. It takes a while for them.
I don't understand how you can think that it is a solvable problem in 1 or 2 years. Like it just, you would have to be relying on other teams that are above you collapsing. And when you look at City, then other than the 115, they're not going to collapse because they're just too well run. Arsenal are very well run at the moment and have got a young squad, so it's difficult to imagine Arsenal collapsing. Liverpool look like they're in a good place. Villa, very, very well run. Like, I don't understand how you expect to just leapfrog those teams in 2 years. It doesn't make sense. And people mocked Arsenal when Arsenal went 8th, 5th, 2nd. Like, that's almost used as against Mikel Arteta. But that is proof of how you need to do it slowly, rebuild from the start. The first thing Arteta did really was scrap the team, scrap the old team, get rid of as many of the high-paid players as he could, and then he rebuilt. And yeah, the first full year that he had, we finished 8th. Then we finished 5th. Should have got top 4, really, but finished 5th. Then we got 2nd. And now we're in a position to compete. And going way back to what we said before about Ten Hag being successful because he's won trophies, the reality is, and you can measure this reality based on how relatively happy Arsenal fans are at the moment compared to how relatively unhappy Man United fans are at the moment. Football fans don't really care. I mean, they don't care about the Carabao Cup. Don't really care about an FA Cup compared to a league title or a Champions League. The top clubs. You don't really care. So if a manager is getting you much, much closer to winning league titles and Champions Leagues, fans are going to be happier with that manager than a manager that can give you a Carabao Cup. Because really, you might on Twitter say, wow, we're more successful than you because we've won a Carabao. You don't believe it. You don't enjoy it as much. I've watched Arsenal lose 1 Premier League game in 2024. We're halfway through October. So every time I go to a game, most of the time, I leave the ground feeling happy. United fans are going to Old Trafford and watching their team get bashed by mid-table teams. That's That's week in, week out.
But then
misery.
at the end of the season, Rory, they had a day out and they've won a trophy, which is what you play football for, to win.
But the reality is that, like, why are we here? Why do we love football? What's it all about? It's just about joy, right? At a baseline, it's about joy. It brings us joy. One day out at the end of the year that you immediately forget about as soon as the next season starts because there's a immediate reminder that you are shit. It doesn't make up for going through 364 days of misery throughout the year because you got an energy drink cup at the end of it. And I don't even need to justify or explain that. Look around. Look at United fans. Are they happy? No. There's your answer. It doesn't need explaining because they know how far away they are from winning a league title or winning a Champions League title. And
I'm going to put a statement out that is back. If my club Inter, right, in the current moment, I'm going to compare two periods of 4 years. If my club Inter get a manager that will make us finish below top 6 for 4 years and win 4 cups in Italy, but only cups, but we're not close to the top. We aren't competing in the Champions League, right? Weren't even in the conversation. We get battered. We play Udinese, we lose. We play Salernitana, we lose the games, and then we win the cup at the end. And I get another manager that will get me challenging to the last day of the season for 4 years. I'll reach a Champions League quarterfinal. On paper, I know that people will say that the one that won the cups more, but I would rather have the seasons where I enjoyed watching my team battle it for the title. For 2 reasons. Number one, I'll have more times enjoying the football that I'm watching every week from Inter. And the second, that I know it is a very easy. Hold on, let me finish that last point and you'll understand that point. At the end of the 4 years, I know that the manager that challenged for the title, that got me close to the quarterfinal, I can just switch the manager like this and get a better manager. And I might have another shot of winning the title again or winning the Champions League. But the guy that won the cup and finished 8th or 9th or 10th and win the cup, I know that my club is way far from winning the 2 prestigious prizes, which is a league or the Champions League. Because I don't believe the aim of the game or the aim of playing football is to win the FA Cup and finish 10th. Otherwise, people would have scraped the league, the teams that are far from winning the league, and focus on the cups and put all their eggs on the cups basket. But you don't see any manager, even mid-table teams don't do that. They play still the second team in the cups. Even the mid-table teams. Why? Because they know that the progress only happens in the league. Your progress happens in 300 and whatever days you play in the league. This is me. Maybe people are different, but this is me comparing 4 years of in my club. I would rather have that guy. That period of 4 years of more enjoyment, close to the top, because I can sack that manager at the end of 4 years, as I said, and I can get a better manager, and maybe that one will win in the league. That I know that if I sack the guy that wins the cup and I get I'm not winning because my team is way far from challenging for the 2 top prizes.
But you can still sack Ten Hag and he's won trophies and he's been there for 3 years. And your club's still move forward in terms of winning trophies.
But it hasn't.
And then you just go again.
It hasn't because you don't care about those cups. You don't care. You don't start a season. If you're a big club, a United fan, an Arsenal fan, a City, you don't start the season going, oh, I hope we win the Carabao Cup this season.
Yeah, but United,
going,
Rory, United for the last what 3-4 years haven't been in a position to even be close to winning the Premier League.
And now they're further away, and that's the point. That's why he's not been successful. Because how many years is it going to be?
Yeah, but they've still won trophies. How many years is it going to be
until a United fan starts the season genuinely believing they could win a league or Champions League? A lot of years. And if that's the case, then the best thing a United fan could start the season hoping for is a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. And
they won it last year.
And they're miserable. Because
they're miserable now because they don't. I know what you're saying. They're miserable because they feel like they're not moving forward. But
so do you not want their realistic expectations to be a league or Champions League?
When you won the FA Cup under Arteta, the next season were you going right? We should be challenging for the league.
No, I said we'll do well to get Europa League.
There you go. So just because you win that FA Cup doesn't mean your squad is all of a sudden in a position to challenge for a league title. United haven't had a squad that can challenge for a league title since Mourinho.
No, I agree. That's why, for me, Mikel Arteta's biggest success is getting Arsenal back to the position where we can challenge for titles, not winning an FA Cup. I would fuck that FA Cup. I would fuck the last 5 FA Cups that Arsenal have won for one single Premier League title. They are... It's like they're the cherry on the cake. But United haven't got a fucking cake. They've got a cherry on a table. And that is not an appetizer.
And a cherry.
That's
That's-
unbelievable.
Anyway, we
Yeah.
gotta move on from Man United.
It's
I think
mental.
we're never gonna reach that. You know the problem is because Arsenal haven't won, but you have to ask yourself one question: if you win one Premier League in 4 years, is it better or winning 4 FA Cups in 4 years? Which one is better for you guys?
I'd rather win the league. Well, this conversation has told me, though, that 2020's Man United is 1980's Tottenham Hotspur. That's what this conversation has told me. Like a team who's like sort of zigzagging in the league standings, but occasionally wins a cup.
I mean,
So,
which would
United
be
and Spurs.
successful for where they are,
coming
though.
second does not justify it. However, if you come in second or third and winning the cup, 100%, you take it. Yes, that's a trophy. But if my club, like if I support Man United and I'm going from second, third, eighth, not even in the conversation for top 4, but I'm winning the cup, fuck that. I'm not enjoying any day of the season. Do you think Man United, Rory hit the nail on the head? Do you think Man United fans are happy every day? They wake up, they're miserable. They're miserable every day, even though they won the cup last season. And even though they can win the cup this season and they can win Europa League, but they're miserable. They're absolutely, it's just one side. You know?
yeah, but that's not going to change anytime soon. Like
That's
I was going to ask
Right.
I was going to ask this before we move on. Because obviously the whole thing's
No.
Tuchel, or do you get a project man? Everyone here,
I
what
know
do
you're
you go with?
miserable, bro. I know you are miserable.
I
Right,
actually don't
United-
think they are.
United-
I don't
know
think that's
that,
a
I
full
know. You are
representation, man.
fighting. Man United fans are fighting it. Bro, I see your comments, people. Everyone. I go and watch Said's shows. And I know when they get together, Man United fans, they aren't happy about the cup.
Yeah, but Mo, you're talking about people that are just basing their whole life on social media. There are a huge amount of Manchester United fans around the world that don't base their happiness off of the conversation they have on social media. And they're not as unhappy as you think that they might be if all you read was those conversations online. There is still, surprisingly, there is still surprisingly Manchester United fans out there that believe keeping Ten Hag is the right thing to do because the DNA in their club of how they've got success.
Sorry for them. I feel sorry for them.
I'm not saying that's the right thing, by the way. I'm not saying Ten Hag's a good manager, but I don't think he's been unsuccessful.
Let's hear Tom's point and then we'll move on. Let's hear Tom's point and move on because go ahead, Tom. Go ahead. Finally, you don't want to talk? Like we'll give you the mic and you don't want to talk?
My mic unplugged. If you're, because obviously the whole idea is you get Tuchel or you get a project manager. If you're United, what do you go with at this point? Do you think
Tuchel now, in my opinion?
Thomas
that's
Frank.
me. For me, I think Man United need a whole complete shift in mentality. Someone that will come in and say, we're not going to accept like losses. We have to like try to win games as much. That's I've always maintained this. And then you build from there.
right?
Like
okay.
even an Antonio Conte at Inter, someone like that.
Last month, right? This is what I want in terms of United fans being happy or unhappy. So last month, they played 4 times at home in September. Okay. They lost 3-0 at home to Liverpool. They then beat Barnsley in the Carabao Cup. They beat them 7-0. They then drew at home to FC 20, and then they lost 3-0 to Tottenham Hotspur in the Premier League, right? So, do you think that on the 3 occasions that they didn't win the game, they got pumped by Liverpool, pumped by Tottenham in their own ground, do you think those fans left the ground, beaming smile on their face, going, we beat Barnsley 7-0 in the Carabao Cup, no? They would take a loss against Barnsley if it meant competing with Liverpool, competing with Spurs, and beating FC 20. Like, you can't just, they're in denial. Any United fan that wants to pretend that they're happy is in denial.
Let me do this couple of stupid tests before we go on. We need to move on. 39 minutes on Man United again. It's crazy. You want to say something? Go ahead, Tom. Go ahead.
I just, on your Tuchel point, I feel like that's just kicking the can down the road. United's problems would not be fixed by Tuchel. United would just be delaying the fixing of the problems by 2 years and then having bigger problems to fix.
Thomas Frank.
I think that maybe not Thomas Frank, not that Thomas Frank's
I
a bad
think
manager,
he failed,
but
Tom. I think
that
he
mold
failed.
of manager. Ten Hag was the right appointment at the time. He's just been swallowed up by what United is, which was weird because he was handling it very well in the first season. I don't know why he's now being swallowed up. He's been swallowed up by what United is. That shouldn't then deter United from going and getting another young manager who's very good at projects, whether that is, as much as I don't want it to be, a Ruben Amorim, for example, who's done really well at Sporting. If they want to go down that route, that's not the wrong route to go down just because one guy got swallowed up. Fucking hell. Like, how many of our clubs have brought in managers who've been swallowed up at our club and then went on to do brilliant elsewhere? I mean, fucking Arsenal.
Do you think that's why, Tom? Do you think that's why Southgate is something that is appealing to them, because he had one of the most pressurized jobs in world football and he dealt with it?
Probably, yeah, because
Southgate.
Yeah,
but Mo, what he did for the England national team, right, under all that scrutiny and pressure, is better than what the 90% of managers have done since Sir Alf Ramsey.
I have actually. This is just my opinion. Anybody that is not a very, very strong personality will fail at the current moment at Man United. Anyone, and it doesn't matter who it is. Even if they are the genius ones, they need someone. And they need someone like an Antonio Conte or a Mourinho in terms of personality. You can argue now the technical, the way, the plans, the tacticals, and all this stuff. But I think the number one thing that you need to have in a guy at Man United at the current moment is someone that all the media spotlight will be on them, not the players. And in a positive way. Someone that will be able to speak in front of the media, will be able to deliver a message, will be able to lead. They can't have someone that is young, in my opinion, as well. Someone
So I'm not saying I'd want him, but does Gareth Southgate not fit all of that?
No, because he doesn't. I'm going to tell you why, Dan. Because Gareth Southgate has no history managing clubs and win. He won't get the respect.
He has managed the biggest egos.
Yeah, but
he's managed the biggest.
But in England, managing a national team is different than managing a club and deal day to day with.
I'd say there is an equal amount of pressure managing England, maybe if not more than managing Manchester United.
There's more managing England.
Yeah,
you get
I
months
think
off at a time,
and he didn't not deal with
you don't
it.
see these players eye to eye.
For Southgate, when England are playing, there's massive scrutiny, but then you'll go like a month, 2 months with, in terms of what he has to deal with on a day-to-day, like mental stress.
Yeah,
you'll go 2 months at a time without having any media about you. Whereas if you're a Man United manager, and that's why I think Ten Hag started all right, but has deteriorated, because it wears you down. It is day in, day out, 7 days a week, relentless media attention.
You have to deal with the players daily, guys. Like daily, you have to deliver lectures daily. Talk to staff, talk to players, meet them at breakfast. See, this guy has a problem. This player is not training well today. This player is having this problem. This player is injured. This player needs this. It's a big thing. And if you're not a leader,
at times, Mo, he would have a month, maybe 6 weeks, full-on interviews every single day, expecting to win a World Cup or a European title for his country, like full on. It's not like he's not had that. He's been a player. By the way, I'm not saying that he's earned the right, but I can see what the appeal would be there. Manchester United is one of the most toxic dressing rooms and clubs in the Premier League at this moment in time. So was the England dressing room. He absolutely, in the time that he was there, changed that for the better. If they gave Southgate the job for the next 5 to 10 years, Manchester United would be in a far better place in terms of a club and what they are, but I'm not sure where they'd be with trophies, because we obviously don't know with Southgate what that looks like in club football, or with England, there's no trophies.
I want Southgate to go just because of I'm with you. I really, we can do more. I want to do more shows with you so we can convince Man United fans of Southgate, because I believe it will be absolutely shambolic for Southgate at Man United. I genuinely believe then that if he goes to Manchester United, he will be eaten alive by the media.
I'm not sure that he will.
Half the fan base would be an absolute head loss on day one, about him going there, and that's such a bad starting point. That is such a bad starting point.
Like Southgate out is going to be trending the first day.
Mo, would you say when Ollie took over, he was a strong personality?
Not really.
He didn't get the scrutiny. Really. He didn't get the scrutiny from the Nevilles.
I'm not saying that. By the way, this isn't a Southgate thing. This was back on the early point where he said the United manager has to be
like now, not back then. Yes, not from Mourinho.
But back then, he was taking over from Mourinho, who turned the place into a toxic mess. Let's not forget the carry-on that was going on every week with the
No,
new
but
player.
I'm going to tell you the difference. Do you want me to tell you the difference? The mentality at Mourinho was still, this club is big. We need to win every single game. I believe at the current moment at Man United, it is okay to lose games, and we have seen it. There is an interview. By the way, I said that weeks ago. I said the mentality at Man United now is that, well, yeah, it's okay to lose games. It's okay. We don't have to be at the top. Some of that, I think, inside the club, it is okay. And you get somebody, you might not win.
No, but I'm lost though, because why do you need a strong? Because as we established much earlier on the show, no manager United get is going to turn them into title challenges within 3 years.
But the mentality, I need someone that the mentality.
But there's no point in bringing in that mentality because it's not going to fucking do anything. There's no point in trying to instill a winning mentality when you're not going to win anything.
They need a good tactician.
All you're going to do is just going to. Players aren't going to buy into you because they're going to go, why are you trying to do that when we're not even there yet? United need to understand where they are. And for me, I just look at a project manager, someone who isn't going to get, isn't going to drown under the pressure of the job, which is a hard thing to find. But that is a better bet for me than trying to cycle through
I'm going to give you
winning managers for 3 years.
I'm not saying that this is going to happen, but I'm going to give you an example. And that is experience managing Inter and Antonio Conte managing in Italy. You would have never thought that Antonio Conte, when he went to Juventus, when Juventus finished 7th and they were coming from Serie B and they were under all of these problems, that he would be able to win the league. I'm not saying Man United are going to win the league because it's much harder to win the league with Man United. Of course, it's impossible next season. But the fact that someone like Antonio Conte can come to Juventus and from finishing 7th to convince everyone that can win the league and win the league. When he went to Chelsea were 10th. Yes, they had a good crop of players, and that's why, hence, he got 93 points and won the league.
But we also had won the league the season before, and then it was just an obliteration
were not. For
issues.
Inter,
we were good enough to win 3 Premier League titles in a row with that squad of players. We just absolutely fell apart that third season of Mourinho.
He has this mentality, Dan. When he came to Inter, we didn't win the league for 10 years, and he said the aim is to win the league. He finished 2nd and 1st. I'm not saying that he's going to do that with Man United, but at least he can install that mentality.
What did he win with Tottenham? With a squad that was all over the gap. What did he win with Tottenham?
Number one, he got them top 4, which is against all the odds. And you have to understand that the aim for Spurs is so different than the aim.
I know. By the way, I'm well aware of that. I just think Antonio Conte has to have a squad around him of players that isn't a toxic dressing room. That's players that are absolute winners.
He created that, and also
I don't think that's there at Manchester United.
I think the board at Man United now aren't as toxic as the board of Spurs. Like the new ones that are in Man United now might help. And I'm not saying
Dan Ashworth and Conte clash. I'll tell you that right now.
But my point is that you don't have to get Conte. You have to get someone with that personality, someone that is big. You might get.
But we've ridded them from football on the numbers that they were on for managers that are nice, that come with a preference to a style of play.
The big thing for United will be actually who's going to be in control of signing players. Is the manager going to come in the way that Arteta has and basically signed his players, or are the club just going to take over that side of things? And in that case, maybe you do bring in a Tuchel for 2 years to try and win a cup, to tide the fans over until the club feel like they've got the squad in a position where they can then bring in a project manager and almost start from scratch. Because the issue is, I think, if they try completely rebuilding the squad, the project manager won't survive the first 2 years of it. So maybe you do bring in a Tuchel for 2 years, knowing full well that he's going to be out at the end of that. Hope that he can somehow magic up a trophy and then move on to new manager, fresh project, but you've already got the players in place. Otherwise, I just don't see how it works. Because I don't see, like, Thomas Frank doesn't survive 2 years if they continue on the path.
Yes, that's not my point. Yeah, but okay, let's go on. Man United, it's fun. It's fun to talk about Man United. Go on.
No, it's okay. But what's your next talking point?
Super chats. Trophy-based analysis has ruined the discourse. One Carabao Cup now mitigates changing the trajectory of a club like Arsenal. They were winning FA Cup regularly, guaranteed they wouldn't go back to those times.
Exactly.
Thank you, Mike. Very simple. Would you trade this the Arsenal of Wenger of winning the cup and finishing like fourth and not even close to the title with this Arsenal team?
No.
A lot of
Well,
Arsenal fans are saying no.
We won an
Yeah,
FA
but there would
Cup
be a
final
few
with
if you win nothing over 5 years that would say yes.
It comes down to what you value as a
You know
fan.
what, Dan? It depends
certain
how
fans
where
like
you
the
hold
days
your
out.
club. You know that. Let me just. You know what? It depends how you view your club. If you view your club as a Villa or a Brighton, yes, you're right, Dan. You're absolutely right. But if you view your club as I should be close to the top, my name should be mentioned next to the teams that are contenders for the Champions League or the Premier League, you wouldn't agree with that. You would say, no, fuck that. I want to be close to the top. I want to win I want to be favorites to every single game. That is the aim of being a top club. That every single game, like City, Arsenal, Liverpool now, every single game they play, you would think, oh, they can win this game. And it doesn't matter if it's home or away. Apart from maybe you go to Anfield or you go to the Bernabeu. Every single Arsenal go to Inter today and they're like, we can win this game. After if they go to Barcelona tomorrow, we can win this game. Bayern, you can win this game. You wouldn't say that if Arsenal were coming 5th or 6th or a Man United. No, you wouldn't. That is the point.
What it is, Mo, some fan, it comes down to how you view football as a fan. I know some Liverpool fans who we've just had some of the greatest years in the club's history under Jurgen Klopp. If you ask them for the best moments of that time, outside the Champions League final, it's the Carabao Cup final or the FA Cup final, not necessarily games on the way to winning the league, because it comes down to some fans live for the big days out at Wembley. They live for the cup journeys, and that's fine. Other fans want to see the sustained success of the football club. It comes down to how you view it, and no way you're viewing football is right or wrong.
Of course, there's no right. Everyone has their own opinion, and we are here saying our opinion. Dan is saying his opinion. It's my opinion. It's a YouTube show. What do you think? We're like affect millions of people? Historically, every club goes through that. We were irrelevant for 30 years. With flashes of success, but now stable at the top. It is Man United time. Man United time now. I think Gregor is a Liverpool fan.
We weren't irrelevant for 30 years, but yes, we didn't win the league for 30 years, and now we're in a position.
You were irrelevant then?
No, we weren't, because we.
How many years you challenged for the Premier League?
In those 30 years, there was
2009. You finished second.
No, the
challenge. Did they have a chance of winning it?
Yeah. Yes, because
2013, yes.
2009.
Yes. 2002, we finished second behind Arsenal.
Second behind Arsenal with like 15 points? Like only Man United finishing behind City?
I think it was about 6 or 7.
Okay.
Which it's on the cusp, and I think there was one or
that's acceptable.
I think there might have been 1 or 2 years in the 90s that I can't remember off the top of my head.
Okay,
but we were still winning. You know, we won a Champions League, and yes. we won 2 Champions Leagues.
Final. I said you were relevant because you reached 2 Champions League finals within 3 years, won one of them. So that is by itself is relevant. When is the last time Man United name was even mentioned next to a Champions League? Even mentioned even in the team's beginning of the season to win a Champions League?
Probably Mourinho. No, probably. I think people forget
Mourinho played Europa League. They played Europa League.
17-18 after they won the Europa League. Everyone, Mourinho has that kind of. Not that we ever thought it wasn't like the favourites, but United's name was put in the conversation because of Mourinho and the players that they had.
Yeah. Many things must align to recover from mediocrity. Yeah, mediocrity. Yes, 100%. We agree, Gregory. Thank you. So we have 3 subjects. We can talk about Maresca being manager of the month. And we could talk about how important Saka is. Is he the most important player for Arsenal? Or we can talk about Foden and Palmer.
Is it going to be manager of the month?
Choose.
Well, that's the question. Is it going to be manager of the month case?
You mean going to your ground and getting battered this week, like next week?
Well, it's already been. October's already been like not as good as September for them because they've already drawn at home to 10-man Nottingham Forest. So
Nottingham Forest are a top team. Let's not
point.
disrespect
Good point.
Nottingham Forest here.
And guys, can we get the likes up a little bit? There's about 700 or more here, people. We're only on 200 likes. We need 400 likes, people. Hit that like button, people. Come on now. Support the channel. Hit that like button. I don't know. I'm going to explain the reason why I put these subjects on the title for the people in the chat. Because I had the argument again with HUSAM and other guys about how important Saka is to Arsenal. And because I genuinely believe he's the most valuable player at Arsenal. Because, okay. Or people said Saliba, other people said Odegaard is the most important player. And I had a lot of comments saying that. Maresca, manager of the month, is he really exceeding expectations? Because I hear people now saying that, yeah, they should be fourth. Yeah, it's given. While before the season, everyone said that Maresca is unknown, including myself. He's exceeding our expectations. Or Foden and Palmer thing, which is who can teams depend on? So I don't know. People can tell us in the chat. I don't know. Whatever you guys want to talk about, we can just absolutely talk about. Actually, I want to start with the Maresca thing.
Okay. Yeah, he's done
I actually
well.
want to start with Maresca. Who here thought that Maresca would be as good as he is now with his resume?
I didn't know nearly enough about him, to be fair.
Did you expect an unknown manager to come into that Chelsea squad with the last season toxicity and do this well and bring players like Amadoueki to play, Sancho now playing, Jackson, Caicedo? Nobody expected that, right?
Not at this stage. No, definitely not. I guess all I'd say is it's too early to tell. How many games have we played?
Of course, 7.
Is it 8, 7? Yeah, so no, it's a very impressive start, of course. Yeah. I think that he's seemingly changed how his Leicester side set up. I think that was going to be the most interesting thing for me because, again, I didn't know enough about him, but I was told that he's apparently a very stubborn manager who only plays one way. So I was like, right, so this will be interesting to see because maybe a lot of Chelsea players aren't really going to bounce off those tactics in the same way. But I think after like the first game, I think he played like that against City, and obviously I know against City, but didn't really work ultimately. But since like that first game, Dan can correct me if I'm wrong, but they seem to have changed, and he seems to have adapted really, really well. So that's already surprised me because, again, based on what people were telling me, he was a very stubborn, arrogant manager in that respect, which isn't a bad thing, by the way, but it is a thing. But clearly he's not because he's adapted and changed. So I think that deserves some plaudits. Absolutely.
What Rory didn't like, I know, bro. I've been doing shows with you for a while now, and I know when you don't like what is being said.
No, it wasn't that I didn't like it. For me, I just feel like it's Ange Postecoglou was top of the league after 10 games last season. So 7 games into this season, I'm not ready to commit to this idea that Maresca has created this style that is going to be successful with Chelsea, because I just think teams haven't figured them out yet in the same way that teams hadn't figured out Ange. And once teams did figure out Ange, then you found out whether or not they're actually a good manager. Because once teams have found you out, can you then adapt and change things? If Maresca
you can still be impressed by what you've seen so far, though. I think I agree with you, but I think you can still be impressed by what you've seen.
I've been more underwhelmed by some of the donkeys that they've played against, to be honest, that have just spread themselves for when we could sit here and tell you this is how not to play against Maresca, and then you've got supposedly Premier League quality managers playing the exact opposite way. I've just been disappointed by them. So for me, I said, whatever day it was, maybe the Friday before the last weekend of Premier League games, I said Nottingham Forest will be a tell for me because Nottingham Forest will sit back. And they drew that game against 10 men. So therefore, if I was being drawn into this Maresca praise, that kind of held me back a little bit. I'm not saying that he can't be successful. I'm just saying,
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
November 10th, you're playing Chelsea away from home.
Yeah.
Do you have any fear that you would lose this game?
Not particularly, no.
Do you ever fear you drop points at all?
Not particularly. I mean, to be honest, we dropped points against them last season.
So he really believes what he's saying. He really believes.
Yeah, but the last time we played, I think we conceded 5.
We beat you 5-0 last time we played at the Emirates. But then we drew to you at Stamford Bridge that season. Which
was worse than this season.
Yeah, so no, I go into that game assuming we'll get 3 points, but it's football, so you never know.
Yeah, of course it's football and you never know, but the
thing is,
difference
we when we go away, we actually set up deep. Like when we go away to big places, we've been setting up deeper, and I think that works so far. At least I think that will work against Maresca. So,
do you believe that, Dan? Like, if Arsenal come to your ground, would you be like thinking that at our ground we can beat anyone, including the Arsenal team, especially now?
Do I believe Chelsea can beat anyone at home?
Yeah, you support
No.
Chelsea.
I'd actually, although we struggled in the last game, I think Chelsea have looked better away for the last couple of seasons than they have at home. I think Stamford Bridge is pretty toxic. I do believe Maresca's had a good start to the season, but I just haven't seen enough yet from this Chelsea squad, no matter who's been the manager, against teams that sit back and get their players behind the ball. And I believe Nottingham Forest caused us a bit of an issue when they did that. And that's why we couldn't score more than one goal. And also their goalkeeper was on an absolute worldie that day. But at the same time, Arsenal are a level above Nottingham Forest when it comes to that. And I think there's a maturity now about Arsenal in the way that they're setting up for these type of games. They're not going to risk drawing to Chelsea if they're trying to win the Premier League title. And I believe they'd probably rather go and try and make that a very difficult afternoon for Chelsea. But also at the same time, I believe they'll be good enough to get the result.
Is that only
that's way off? Yeah, we got some games to navigate first before that Arsenal game. We've got Liverpool.
That's my point. Is that only because it's Arsenal? Okay, so here's the question: is that because Arsenal are a special case in terms of how they set up and stuff like this? Is that only?
I think Arsenal.
If Liverpool come to your ground, if Newcastle come to your ground, if these teams come to your ground, you're more confident.
No, I think Liverpool will probably just be a draw. To be honest with you, in recent years,
if we don't win, it's a draw. That's how we look at it.
But like, it's been a draw a lot recently, and especially in games in huge competitions. It's been a draw.
Was it like 9 draws in a row we had at one point?
It was a ridiculous amount of draws. So if it happened again, I wouldn't be shocked. But at the same time, I think Liverpool have started the season fantastically. They're also a resolute defence. They've conceded 2 goals in the Prem.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea at this moment in time look fantastic against teams that play into their hand. I'm still waiting to see, because I don't think we've quite had the test yet against better sides. We played Manchester City first game of the season, and it was a different story. Maresca had a slightly different system. There's been some tweaks since then. After the Servette loss of the Crystal Palace draw, he's definitely made some changes, and I think that probably got him into the position to go and win Manager of the Month. And I think he's been okay, but there's going to be some challenges over this next month of a very difficult fixture list. And then I think we can start to see where Maresca's going to be at.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the, I mean, we're moving into a tough fixture list as well. Our manager's got a lot of praise to start the season. This is where, and everyone was telling us, just wait until you get to this run, wait until you get to this run. I'm just putting that alongside all the other clubs. So Chelsea moving into their tough run now. Let's see how their manager's made of, because our starts of the season gets criticised for how easy it's been. I'm pretty sure us and Chelsea have faced like 5 of the same teams. Like, we both played Bournemouth, we both played Palace, we both played Forest. We both played Wolves. That's 4 off the top of my head. So like, you're going to find out more as we go. I think the game on the weekend is going to be a really interesting one, especially because Chelsea have a couple of suspensions in the defence. So I don't know who's necessarily going to be playing in that back line.
I want to address something. I want to address something for real. Okay, we cannot just be sitting here. I want to address the Chelsea fans on the chat, right? A lot of Chelsea fans. No, just the reality. This is YouTube, right? This is YouTube. I love Dan. I think he's different than other people that view Chelsea. I have Charlie, actually. I have similar views to Dan. You know Charlie, Dan.
I get on well with Charlie. I think he talks very sensibly about Chelsea, actually.
But I want to address the Chelsea fans in the chat. A lot of you guys, I'm like, oh, we don't like Dan. And some people say in the comments, we don't like Dan. We think Dan doesn't back our club. You know what I mean? Change Chelsea rep. Okay? I'm actually going to let Dan respond to this. Because people want to Dan have the best, like the shit. Oh, we got to smash Arsenal at home. We want to smash Arsenal at home. The problem is, if you do that and you get clipped and you don't win against Arsenal, that is the thing. Like, people have different opinions. I have different opinions against Inter. Nobins have different opinions than LB, than Tony, than Martin. Tom has different opinions than HUSAM. I don't know why Chelsea fans want. I don't know why Chelsea fans only want to have the supporter or the representative that
people like to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys think that? You guys
Dan
think
is rational. Dan is rational. That's why he's on the Rational League. That they want someone that's going to come in and say, yeah, eight Chelsea players get into a combined 11 with Arsenal. Like that's what they want to hear. But that's not rational. That's not based in realism.
But that's not rational to you, by the way. I refuse that.
That's not rational to anyone.
No, why? Why?
Arsenal have been title challengers for 2 years. Chelsea were fucking 12th 2 years ago.
But in the same way that I get your point. It might be rational.
I don't think you're getting. I don't think you get the point, Tom. It might be rational to us, guys. Some other people think other ways.
Yeah, irrationally.
It's not Dan's job to be. Dan's not even a Chelsea rep. Dan's a rep of himself. That's 100%. What people need to remember.
Yes.
I don't rep City. I rep myself.
By the way, the same people.
I don't rep anyone.
And this is the hilarious thing that I find: the same people that will say that Dan should be just basically irrational and you need Don. All right, you need someone like Donna. They're the exact same people that will say Lee Gunner. That's a proper Arsenal fan because he understands the he holds his club to account. It's the same group of people. I see it all the time. I see it in my own comments on TikTok all the time. People want their club to be represented by someone who's super positive, but then when they want to listen to other clubs being spoken about, they want super negative fans to speak about their club because that makes them feel good. Because it makes them feel like, oh, yeah, our club's good, and we're going to go and win every game this season because these teams have obviously got problems. It's hypocritical, is what it is. That's what it is.
I'm sure. I'm sure with Liverpool and with Chelsea, if Chelsea go through their next run of games, and they've got Liverpool, Newcastle, United, Arsenal, and then Leicester and Villa. If they go through that run of 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games and get 4 wins, I'm sure Dan will be singing the praises because it needs to be proven first. There's no point in counting your chickens before they've hatched or whatever the stupid saying is. The same with us.
We're analysing what we see.
Yeah, what we've seen is really good in the limited sample size.
That's fantastic. That's it.
But again, all Dan said is I need to see it against more.
It's good. It's just good. It's good.
I mean, it was good enough to win Manager of the Month. But my point is, you've got to look at it with context. Context is important. Context is rational. It's why you can't just throw statements out there and then not expect any blowback on them. Chelsea and Liverpool have started well under new managers. Yep. Chelsea and Liverpool, you're going to learn a lot about both our clubs by December. That's where you'll figure out a lot about our clubs. Regardless of how much I'm happy with Slot, I need to know more. I need to know how we're going to act when we've got an Arsenal, when we've got a Chelsea, when we've got a City.
The problem with Chelsea fans, and I said that on the Football Terrace, not the Chelsea fans, the viewers, and normal, which is we are all fans of the football, is that at the current moment, you'll have to be one or two. You'll have to be full on supporting everything that happens at the club, which now turns into you'll have to be or the other guy, which is, okay, I'm a little bit skeptical. I'm waiting to see what is going to happen in the next one. There is just small people, and if you be that guy, you'll find the people that hate you, and if you're that guy, you'll find the people that hate you, right? And that is what is happening now. It's polar extremes. That is what it is. You have to back the club, or you'll have to be like Dan, who's a little bit skeptical. CB is a little bit skeptical. Charlie's a little bit skeptical. They're waiting to see what happens.
No, hang on. I think that's within reason, because before I was doing YouTube and Chelsea were winning a trophy every single season, we were one of the best clubs in the country. I wasn't there being skeptical then. I'd back us to win every single game of football we go into. But for what reason? This is what I don't hear from these supporters, is they want me to back Chelsea and they want me to sit here and say Chelsea are going to go and beat Arsenal. They're going to go and beat Liverpool. For what evidence and what reason do they have to think that we're going to go and beat those clubs, especially what we've seen over this season? If we look at the Premier League table,
Manager of the Month.
No, yeah, but hang on, Roy. If we look at the Premier League table, Arsenal and Liverpool are currently better than Chelsea in terms of where they sit. They've conceded fewer goals. conceding less goals normally wins you a game of football, especially if you're playing this current Chelsea setup. Where's the reasoning? Don't sit there slagging me off in the chat. Sit there and tell me why you think I'm wrong. Why you think
Thank you.
Chelsea won't be able to, will be able to win these games. That's all I want to hear. Come and speak to me outside Stamford Bridge and drop your point then, because I know half of you have never even been to London.
Oh,
Ooh.
he's called
but you've got Cole Palmer cooking, and you've got.
Don't get me wrong. What Chelsea are doing right now.
I have to respond to something, please.
Okay.
Them not being to the stadium does not make them less of a fan. Can we?
I don't think they understand the culture that exists around Chelsea Football Club, though.
No,
I don't think they do.
Strong words.
No, I disagree with you. I disagree with you. It's fine.
I don't know, Mo.
I disagree with you completely. I disagree.
Why then? Tell me why. Don't just sit there and say you disagree.
You think they are less than passionate? Do you think? And I'm not going to go into. I don't want to go deeper into this because I think this argument is wrong. Do you think they are lesser fans, for example, or less passionate, or they love the club less than a club?
No, I don't think so. I actually don't think so. That's why they get so wound up. No, hang on, Mo. I think that's why they get so wound up and frustrated that they can't understand why someone would speak differently, because they care about Chelsea an awful lot and they support it in the way that they see fit.
Yes,
and they do.
Yeah,
but there is a culture that exists around Chelsea Football Club, and for as long as I've been going there, most people that go to the games week in, week out that I speak to and I sit around and I've had conversations with for the last 15, 20 years, they are of a similar mindset to me, because there's a culture that exists around the club. If you don't ever put yourself in that situation or have conversations with those people who don't vocalize themselves on social media, but they travel all around the country in Europe for Chelsea, people don't understand that conversation. They don't understand that point of view. They just don't get it. And it doesn't mean they're wrong, and it doesn't mean they don't love Chelsea.
Exactly.
But what it does mean is that maybe they should open their mind and broaden their horizons around what it means to support that football club for many different people. And then you might understand that you're not actually wrong. You can be right. And you could support your club in different ways, and people will have different views. But at the same time, the same thing, we all want Chelsea to win. And that's when I get disappointed at the fact people label it anti-Chelsea. Because do you think I'd be coming on here? Do you think I would have started making YouTube content moaning about Chelsea not winning because Graham Potter was doing such a bad job when I recorded my first video? No, I wanted Chelsea to win. I didn't make it because I was anti-Chelsea. I would have been sat here with years worth of memorabilia behind me if I was anti-Chelsea. It's been my life for 27 years. It's ridiculous. It's just absolutely crazy, stupid chat that is put in there simply to get people to bite. Come at me and have a proper discussion and raise sensible points as to why you believe Chelsea can go and beat those teams and win the Premier League title or get top 4 this season, and I'll sit here all day and speak about it. But don't sit there without reason, without evidence, without being able to back up your point, because that is absolutely ridiculous and it's irrational.
I absolutely agree with that notion. You can absolutely discuss with anyone, why do we think your opinion is wrong? Why do you think your opinion? Why do you think Chelsea won't win? Why you don't back Chelsea? Why you're skeptical about the team? Which is, I have this argument with some of the Inter guys about why you don't like Lautaro, why you don't think Lautaro is going to be a top player ever, for example. Why do you think Barella is this? It's just different arguments. My point about this is that, and I'm just going to repeat what I think. I don't think anybody that doesn't go to stadiums, because I always said it's a privilege that someone who was born in Milan, that you get to go to Inter, someone who was born in Torino to go to Juventus. It's a privilege, right? It doesn't make them more of a fan of a club. Because when people wake up early to watch Chelsea, 6 in the morning in the UK, some people wake up at 4 in the West Coast to watch Chelsea in the morning play, or Liverpool. That requires dedication, right? That requires dedication. So that doesn't make them less of a fan. That is my opinion, by the way. So I disagree with you on this. Papa Beard is saying, never been to London. That doesn't make anybody less than a fan, in my opinion. I disagree with what Dan said.
But they might not understand the culture that comes with being in London when you're supporting Chelsea.
But that doesn't, by the way, Chelsea, and I don't want to go into this conversation, Chelsea wouldn't be Chelsea without international fans. Arsenal wouldn't be Arsenal without international fans. That brings a lot of money.
I don't disagree, by the way, Mo. I don't disagree.
Point, right?
But I also think that, like Manchester City is another example, right? They're a club who have absolutely grown massively with an international fan base. But people will say, oh, Man City have got no fans and Man City haven't got this. Every time I go to the Etihad, Manchester City fans are fantastic. Manchester City fans have a culture around their club that's deep rooted within Manchester as a central place and a sense of belonging to that club that you can sense when you're there, by the way. And you see that with pop culture and everything that exists in Manchester. If you never go there and you don't put yourself in that sort of environment, how do you ever feel it? How do you ever know what that feels like? Nobbins can probably speak for that. Manchester is a place
but that doesn't make the club what it is.
I genuinely think it does. I think that club is deep rooted, and its roots are that sort of embodiment of people from Manchester before it was an international club.
Can I ask you a question? Have you watched me watch Inter before?
Yeah.
Do you think someone that goes to the stadium are more passionate than me watching my club play football?
No, but I think it might be in a different way.
Different way. I've
been to watch Inter Milan at the San Siro, and I'm not saying that they're any less.
I've been plenty of times.
Exactly.
I've been plenty of times.
What I am saying is that if you grow up, if
I have the money, then I'm privileged to be financially in a place to be able to book a ticket from America and go to Italy to attend the game. A lot of people that support other clubs don't have that money on that financial thing.
Yeah, okay, and it doesn't mean they don't support it any less, but
that's the whole point.
But because of that restriction that's placed upon their life, whether that's fair or not, they aren't able to go there and see the culture of what the San Siro brings and being part of Milan on a match day. You just don't see that on TV. It's not covered in a way.
You want the reality? I went there and it doesn't change anything about me.
It doesn't change anything about you, Mo, but if you don't go there...
I went, and by the way, I spoke to the Ultras people and stuff, and it didn't change anything about me. I know Nobbins have to go. Big up Nobbins. Thank you so much for being here. I know you got 2-3 minutes. But if you want to shoot anytime, Nobbins, just so right. But Dan, my point about this, it didn't change anything about me, Dan. At all, by the way, about the way I support the club.
Okay, but I've spoken to fans last year outside Stamford Bridge that had never been before, talking about Chelsea. They came over and they were like, "This is the best thing I ever did because now I feel even more connected to the club. I see what it is."
Enter, yes, and I loved it. It's one of my best ever memories. Every single game I went to was one of my best ever memories. But I promise you, didn't change anything about me. The way I look at the club at all.
Okay, but you might have understood the concept a little bit more, but some people don't, Mo. But I don't see you raising these discussions and putting these comments in place without having a valid point to back it up. A lot of these comments are thrown around and then people don't have the ability to back up their points. We have good conversations because you sit there and base your opinion off evidence and fact and things you've seen. Some people just throw around comments to entice negativity and get bites back.
By the way, a lot of people tell me that Rory, for example, is jarring about art.
Me?
Why is Rory catching a stray? That's outrageous.
No, but I'm talking about
who said that?
Comments.
How
because
dare
it's the same. You know that.
How dare you?
You know the point. A lot of people.
No, I am jarring. I jar myself sometimes.
But the whole point, Dan, is that I agree with the comment you said about challenge my opinion. Always say that I'm wrong. Say that I'm wrong. 100%.
Oh, I completely agree, by the way. And I think people should do that. But if people are going to challenge, then they need to be prepared to be coming with evidence and facts and reasons to back up those points.
100%.
They have to.
100%. I agree. Anyway, I know Nobbins, you got to go. I'm going to do super chats. I'm going to read them before I actually put them on the screen to make sure he didn't say less of a fan. Okay. So Donald Square, he said, he didn't say less of a fan. He said, they don't understand the London culture. He's right. Just like I don't know our standard American culture. I don't understand that.
No, I do. I get that completely. I like NFL. I went to NFL and I had no idea what it meant to support their teams on a match day. And I went and saw it and I didn't understand how that's how they supported their teams. That's what they did every day. They tailgate and they do it for like 5 hours before. And it was completely different to how I've ever supported or been to any sporting event. And then actually by going and seeing it, I was able to appreciate it a lot more and understand what it meant to the people that have had this club as part of their family for generations.
I actually saw that when I went to Everton and I met a family of a grandma, a daughter, and a kid with the grandpa as well. And they were taking the family going to the games. And I sat with my wife and I spoken to them, right? And I understood that that is part of their culture for generations after generations. I get what you're saying. And I saw that in Crystal Palace as well. When I went to Selhurst Park, I saw that. But for me, that anybody that is outside of it doesn't make it any less of a fan or their opinion is invalid. That's not what you're saying. I know people, oh, it's xenophobic. He's not saying that, guys. And nobody's saying that. Your opinion is valid as long as you come with an argument, not attacking the person. Very simple.
I think the one thing that you can tell a difference is in that, like, there's a certain group, and this isn't even all online fans or international fans, or even, by the way, there are plenty of like English. I know loads of Arsenal fans in England that have never been to an Arsenal game, right? But there is a difference between the kind of chronically online fans that do just see winning a trophy as success, anything else as not success, and they don't necessarily. And it's just a difference of opinion, I suppose.
Yes,
but it comes from being in this chronically online space of arguing with people about nothing other than trophies, and constantly arguing with rival fans and trying to bait rival fans that don't necessarily get the same kind of interpretation of the club as offline fans. Not even saying match-going fans, but just fans that aren't chronically online.
yes.
Because for them, it is more about the week in, week out. Am I enjoying watching my team? So for like end of last season and the season before, pretty much every fan at the Emirates stayed behind to support the team, to cheer the team, to listen to Mikel Arteta give a speech. There was a small minority of online fans who would say that that is pathetic and that and this, that, and the other because we didn't win anything. And there is a difference in those two sets of fandoms. But again, it doesn't necessarily come from match going versus non-match going, but it comes from
it's how you view
online.
the club and how you social media. And I believe, to be honest with you, I actually believe it's all about social media nowadays. It's all about scoring points. You want to score a point.
Yeah.
More. I want to score a point on you instead of having a rational league. Papa Beard, I have supported the club before you were even born then. I don't mind your takes, but what you just said is just wrong. It's disappointing.
Why is it wrong?
Why is it wrong?
Why is it wrong? Sorry, why is it wrong?
Okay. I'm not going to speak for Papa Beard. I'm not going to speak for that. Me and him.
I'm not asking you to, Mo, either. I'm asking him. Tell me why it's wrong. I'm entitled to my opinion. Why is it wrong?
I only just I disagreed with one point, and you clarified that you never thought that someone that doesn't go to the games is less of a fan than you.
No, they're not. They can support it from wherever they want.
100%. That is the whole point. Of people say xenophobia. No, but there are people that think the people that don't go to the games are lesser fans. This is when I disagree with, because I believe Chelsea would not be Chelsea, or Inter would not be Inter, or Liverpool would not be Liverpool without these fans, without everyone, the people that go to the stadiums and the people that travel to go to the stadiums and the people that watch on TV. Otherwise, the Premier League wouldn't even be a Premier League without the people that pay the money on TV. Because where is the money coming from? It's the people that watch on TV and other people that go to the games. It's very simple. That is the thing. I always said that, by the way, about look at Italian football. By the way, Inter are still ranked 5th in Europe for people going to the stadiums, right? Where is Italian football now? In the gutter. Why? Nobody watches on TV. Actually, Italian football proved that international fans are as important as the people that go to the stadium. Because without the people that watch your club internationally, the whole league will go to shit. There is not going to be any support. Here comes proof my point. I agree with Dan. I am in the US and I take
he still goes to he tries
to go to London once a year or every other year. It is different. Doesn't mean they are irrelevant. That's the whole point, Uchi. I think we got lost in the translation between what Dan said and what people want to hear sometimes. And I'm actually going to say this, me being an international fan, and I had this discussion with Staffy before, big up Staffy, about sometimes people online, not Staffy, but some people online, once they hear the word international fan, they get triggered. Why do you talk about international fans? Well, sometimes it's just different supporting the club from going to the stadium. Man United fans are one of the main examples. Last season, a lot of people that went to the stadium came back and told me, when I spoke to them, a lot of people in the stadium wanted Ten Hag in. But if you're muted.
That is
but
what I'm saying.
But if you watch the majority of the people online, even the people that go to the stadium but do YouTube, they were like, no, Ten Hag out. So it's, anyway, that's the thing. I get the people that say that. Location, time, money. You are privileged to follow your team. Culture cultivates by being associated with the culture itself. Internet helped massively. That is true. That's true. I don't disagree with that. Take it on. B&B, who's better 9, Kai or Nicholas Jackson?
We've done this last week or the week
that.
before. It's Kai Havertz.
I don't think I was here for that one, but I agree.
I mean, what's funny is I only saw midweek that Nicholas Jackson finally scored his first international goal. I thought he would have had at least 5 or so by now for Senegal, but no, apparently that was just his first.
I'm gonna, before I do the super chat, I actually don't like this notion that every time, as long as someone doesn't think less of someone else for whatever reason, it's all right. I don't care. It's not xenophobic. It's not racist. It's nothing. As long as you don't think of, as long as I don't think of this guy or this person or that woman less of me because of something, it's not bigotry. We can have different opinions about how we support the club. Simple. By the way, there are a lot of people that thought that the Man United fans that go to the stadium are the reason why the club is where they are now. Because they wanted Ten Hag in. Just think about that. English teams are rotted to culture it's located. The idea that it's because the support is international doesn't change that notion. Grow up, weirdos. Brian is talking to the people. No, but also you cannot say that international fans are different. So are just, oh my God, they're not good. There's a lot of international fans that I know that they go 3, 4, 5 times. By the way, I know people that go to Arsenal 7, 8 times a season, and they are international people, by the way. I know that for a fact. They pay a lot of money to go 6, 7 times, which is quarter of the league.
That's probably the biggest thing that annoys me. Actually, is when if there's a bad atmosphere, when people blame tourists for a bad atmosphere, that pisses me off beyond belief. Because when I've met people at the Emirates that it's their first time and they've come from abroad and they know me or don't know me, they are more excited for that. It could be Arsenal against Southampton last week. They are more excited and cheering louder for that game because it's their first time than the guy who's been a season ticket holder.
I've heard that about Chelsea as well.
That is so true.
It's a problem at Anfield as well.
It's a problem everywhere because maybe if you're a fan that gets to go every week, you take it a little bit for granted sometimes.
You do 100%.
But when you go there for the first time, or you get to go there for like 5 times in a season, and you don't get to take it for granted, and it costs loads, and you have to save up to do it. Yeah, of course, it's going to hit a little bit different, isn't it? And you want to. Though, and there's a sense of, I don't know if it's negativity, but there's a sense of maybe that sort of, I've done this for like 40 years around some fans, and they sit there and they don't make much noise, and they have this sort of level of expectation that's never quite reached because they've seen it all before. When new fans come in and do generate more noise, and I'd agree 100% at Chelsea as well. I see people go once a season and they'll sing their heart out for a whole game.
I mean, I can only speak for Liverpool. There's 2 main gripes I have when with certain fans that go to the game. One of them is the old people who've been there for years and think they're entitled to go and just sit there and watch.
Yes.
And the other is people who go to the game because they've heard it's a great atmosphere and then expect it to happen all around them. If you're going because of the atmosphere and the thing and that, you've got to get involved in it. But I know that a lot of people get on and go, oh, all the tourists coming to Anfield now have ruined the atmosphere. No, I've sat alongside people from all walks of life. I've met people from Asia, from Africa, from North America, from South America whilst going the game, and they're brilliant and they get involved. And then I'll sit next to some Al Scouser and he's having a go at me for trying to sing because he wants to watch the game. Like, if you want to watch the game,
I've actually had that. I've had that when I went to City Stadium. Someone didn't like that my wife was cheering.
Yeah, so there's certain people.
They didn't like it because they wanted to. It was City and Leicester, and they wanted to watch the game. and she was too loud because she was so excited in the game.
It's
Right.
a fucking. You're at the stadium for a reason. A lot of the people, not a lot. I should rephrase. Some people who follow these clubs, they'll have chosen them because they were the first team that they watched, and
Yeah.
it was one of the first games they watched, and it was at the stadium, and the atmosphere was amazing, and this, that, and the other, and it brought me in. The atmosphere doesn't just happen around you every time, and this is the same for locals as it is for tourists. You've got to go and make it yourself, and this is what I feel like is going wrong at a lot of these top clubs. That I think one of the big problems is there's a lot. I can only speak for Liverpool. There's a large group of older people who feel entitled to everything because they've had a season ticket for 20 years, and then just don't get involved anymore. And stadiums starting to struggle. I mean, I believe that all stadiums now should have a young fan section for fans from the age up to like 25 or so, because they're the guys who were trying to, who were the next generation of these crap version of ultras who were going home and away. But I know that at Anfield, and I know that it's happened at the Emirates as well, the balloting system means they can't go to certain home games because they just don't get a ticket. And that
or
means
if
that
you
these
do,
guys,
the only way to get a ticket is through the exchange, which means you're going to be sat by yourself, dotted all around the stadium. So there's no way of having like a group that can, because you're not, like, realistically, if I'm sat with in a quiet area, I'm not just going to stand up by myself and start trying to get a chant going because it just falls flat normally. So yeah, there's big issues, and again, and they are things that none of that can be put on tourist or international fans. So yeah, I agree with what you said.
I'm actually just texting Papa Beard on the side just because I text the guy. But Luke Skywalker, thank you so much for hitting the like button. I actually want to, maybe, I don't know, the argument between the international versus the thing. I actually think it's a healthy conversation, actually. I genuinely think it has to happen at some point. It has to happen.
You're going to get, it's not a problem, but as we said earlier, you are going to get a different reaction when you ask people who go week in, week out to people who watch on TV or watch the coverage and this, that, and the other, because of the way you absorb the game. But when I was first getting into the scene, I was still going to Liverpool games pretty regularly. And I've stopped now because of different reasons. But I would go to a Liverpool game. I'd watch it live. I'd think, oh, this, that, or the other. And then I'd watch the post-match reaction from whatever TV company it was. And then I'd go onto social media and I'd go onto YouTube and watch post-match reactions there. And they're all saying something so different to me that I'm going, did I watch the same thing? Because the way you absorb it is different. And that's not a problem. But it's just how it is. Whether you like it or not, it's not demeaning one person or another. It's just the experience watching it in person is different to watching it on TV because of the way everything else is done differently.
Part of that, I think that's commentators as well. You know, one of the biggest differences between people that watch on TV versus people that watch at the game is that, and people don't even realize, is the impact the commentators make. Because if a commentator, like Gary Neville, seems to pick up on one thing at the start of a game, and even if the rest of the game doesn't follow that one thing, he'll keep trying to make a point about it. And so I've noticed, I get home from a game, and something I've not even thought about, lots of people are talking about. And then you listen to the game back, you're like, oh, the commentator kept talking about that. So it's like, yeah, I do think
Rory, you're bang on, by the way. And the same happens with online watch-alongs as well that attract a huge number of supporters. There are a huge amount of United fans that have the exact same opinion or base their opinion off of what Goldbridge has to say or what they hear from the commentator or what they hear, because they're not there. They're not seeing it for themselves, or they're slightly influenced by what they're hearing whilst they're watching the game. And they believe that to be right because they're hearing it from someone who is potentially a so-called expert. You know, if Gary Neville's saying it, he's a guy that's played the game, but sometimes he says the most outrageous things, as does Carragher, as does everyone, because sometimes we take our opinions and we form them ourselves, and then sometimes they just don't match up to what we've seen because we're influenced by something else or we're biased towards something. That's just what happens with forming opinions. But when you have a an audience that can hear it, then that can be taken as gospel because they all have a trust in you because they believe in what you're saying. So you're exactly right. People base their opinions off of what they hear, like you said, probably subconsciously when they're watching a game of football.
Let me put the super chat in. This is not a super chat. Dan, I understand you are not gatekeeping and talking about it from a cultural standpoint, but who are you to decide? International fans do not understand the culture. This is where
okay, I hear what you're saying, and thank you because I did ask you to suggest what it would be. The reason that was wrong, maybe I've gone with too broad a brush to suggest that international fans don't understand the culture, because some people have actually made a really good point saying that the online world has allowed us to do so, and things like fan TV and stuff definitely helps in that way. But what I will say is I don't believe that it's a 0%, 100% thing. I think there will be international fans that don't understand the culture, and there will be some international fans that do. And Papa, if you've been supporting Chelsea for that long, I think you've probably got a really good idea. But not everyone I speak to has been supporting Chelsea as long as you. They might have started supporting Chelsea when the TV station in their country started showing Chelsea, or when they got access to Wi-Fi. I'm not sure, because people support Chelsea with all different situations, right? And people will form their opinions of Chelsea on smaller amounts of information about the club or bigger amounts of information about the club. So maybe I've used too broad a brush, which I'll apologise for. But what I will say is I still believe people away from London and Chelsea as a club and what it is, they won't fully understand it until they're there and they're amongst it. I do think that's something that if you ever get the chance to do for your football club, no matter where it is, make it happen. Because I think all four of us could say going to actually watch your club live and in the flesh is the experience that is probably most benefiting to all of us as fans.
Appreciate you, Papa Beard. Rabhi, appreciate you, Rabhi, Habibi. Thank you so much.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I think that might be lost in translation there.
Yes. Let's do the super chat so we can get out of here. Mo, can you recreate the Kukurea moment again? I rewatched that part again today. The way you said it, authority is epic. If you haven't watched what I said about Kukurea yesterday on the Lahwa on Team of the Season, just go watch it again. I said on my dead body, Kukurea will be on Team of the Season yesterday. And he didn't get in. So I like that. I go.
Who was arguing for Cucurella to be in Team of the Season?
Chelsea people. Chelsea. Lewis.
Ahead of
Lewis
Timber. Ahead of Timber and Gvardiol.
Yeah.
Ahead of even Anthony Robinson for Fulham.
Yeah.
Isn't Cucurella's picked up 5 yellow cards in 7 games?
I don't mean he's having a bad game, though.
It means he's got a discipline problem.
No, by the way, there could be a discipline issue.
Do you know he complained about this, guys? You guys said that the English referees are targeting him because he won the Euros. Do you guys know that? It's actually it's a real quote. He actually said that I'm being targeted in England because I won the Euros with Spain against England. And I'm being targeted by the referees, and this has to stop.
I will be so honest. Because I've seen the quote he's got on about. I assisted the winning goal for Oyarzabal. I don't think anyone in England really cared about a week later who assisted the winning goal.
If you guys,
by the way, I will agree with what Lewis is saying. By the way, Cucurella's had a very, very good season, though. He's had a good season.
On my dead body, he's getting Team of the Season.
No, well, I don't know about Team of the Season after 7 games, but I will say Cucurella has been playing very, very well for quite an extended period of time now. It's not just this season, even into the Euros at the end of last season. Cucurella's been very good.
Oh, I don't think so, but fine. I don't think so. Everything says otherwise. I go Stamford Bridge every year. We can discuss this later. Then we're not going into Kukurea discussion, please. And if I open up about Kukurea, this show will never end. You have no idea how much I think this guy's overrated. Like, I think he's so overrated. It's just I think Vega is 5 times better than him.
Oh, Vega looks quality, by the way.
Exactly. And if Vega is 5 times better than him,
no, I don't agree with that statement. I don't agree with that statement. I do think Cucurella has been very good, but I think Vega has been an adequate sign-in for that position as well.
Mr. B is saying I go Stamford Bridge every year, and I think Dan is wrong.
Yeah,
all right, then.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we all agree that we can have different opinions. How many times I disagreed with Rory and Tom and Dan and Nobbins, and we disagreed with each other? It's all right. Hybrid Ultra, for example, 90% of Arsenal fans that go to the games and understand the culture are not Arteta out. But there is a loud minority online who are. Rory will tell you.
Yeah, it's true.
I think there is a minority that are Arteta out, right? But, and I actually don't believe there is anybody that goes to the, there are some. Like there are Kenny and Jez, they don't like, and they go to the stadium every game, right? The podcast that is done with Lee. And they are going. So maybe 95%. I don't go to the stadium to tell you the percentage, right? But I heard both sides. I heard there is some that. But I believe if you go to Arsenal now, the majority will be with, okay, we're gonna back Arteta to see what is gonna happen.
Of course they would. Like,
I mean,
like there is no reason for you today to not back Arteta. What is gonna happen if you don't back Arteta today?
I'll tell you this for free. On the final game of last season, well, bear in mind, when we turned up on the final day, it was still possible we could win the league. When the news came through that City had won that game, the biggest rendition of "We've Got Super Mick Arteta" ran round of the entire day. The loudest the ground was upon hearing that we'd lost the title, and it was singing for Mikel Arteta. So, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there will be people in the stadium that don't believe in Mikel Arteta, but it's much easier to be loud online than it is when you're surrounded by other people who disagree with you. So you won't hear someone standing up and shouting, "Get Arteta out," because everyone would turn around and look at them like there was some sort of, whatever.
And also, Rory, just by being in the stadium that day, that noise transcends to all you Arsenal fans, but all 60,000 of you don't go home vocalising that point on social media. Probably even that day, you might have been like the only one to do it, or that is 6 months down the line when you're telling everyone that it happened. Whereas someone sat there vocalising it online to a live audience of a few people who are all very active on social media because they're well aware of who they're speaking to, will vocalise that opinion out into the masses quicker, right?
Yeah, 100%. You don't get paid for giving the opinion in the ground.
Exactly.
But you still say your opinion.
Oh, I do. But your average season ticket holder doesn't.
As a US Arsenal fan, my dream is to go to the Arsenal game. Finances have never allowed it, but the day will come eventually. Lace, bro, it's a great feeling, but I'm just telling you, I've watched Arsenal live. They were shit, bro. They were absolutely horrific. It was 2019 against Everton.
Oh, it's 2019.
It was a garbage game, bro.
Yeah, do you know what?
A trash game.
Bro, why do you think we're all so much happier now?
It's one of the worst games I've watched in my life. And I've been to a lot of stadiums. It was one of the worst games I've watched in my life.
Yeah,
that Everton Arsenal game, 0-0. If you haven't watched the highlights, it's December 2019. Oh my God.
I went to an Arsenal game and it was against Montpellier, and Lucas Podolski scored a weldy.
What a go. That game, by the way, Mo, that would have been like
Ljungberg's last game.
Yeah, exactly. That was when
it was Ljungberg's last game.
Ljungberg as temporary manager.
And it was Ancelotti's. It's the day that Ancelotti got sacked. Ancelotti got sacked before, and that guy, what's his name? Ferguson, whatever that guy took over Everton.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Ljungberg versus Everton. Oh my, can you imagine me booking a ticket and going to that game, getting a train to Manchester, then a train to Liverpool, walk to the stadium and watch that game. However,
you walked to Goodison from Lime Street.
Yes.
It's like a 45, 50-minute walk.
There was no taxis.
You must have walked through some dodgy parts of Liverpool then, I feel.
But to be honest with you, I've watched someone cry in the stadium, an Everton supporter from Australia of 45 years, and it was his first game ever. And I saw him by the stairs crying. Right? Big up to this guy. And he's like, it was a dream to come to Liverpool and watch Everton. 45 years. The guy was about 60 years old, and he was just crying from watching the game. But the game was shit, though, so I feel bad for him, to be honest. The game was horrific, bro. In Greece, we have a section that we all know the role we should play. If you go to the ultras and say, I want to watch the game, then good luck to you. Same in Italy. Same if you go to the ultras in Italy. Yes, Gregory. I know that. You don't watch the game. Even here in Houston, if you go to the game and you sit with that group of people that have the drums, be my guest, try to watch the game. The flags are around you. They're turning their backs to the game. They're just cheering.
Mo, I don't know if you know James Horncastle, who's like a Italian sports.
I know James Horncastle.
He was chatting about the Inter Milan ultras and their direct line to Inzaghi and how they just pick up the phone and.
Bro, I disagree with that much of influence over the club, but same, I appreciate that these guys will take care of the club no matter what, and they will have the best interest of the club in their heart, and you know it. Nobody will have an agenda, a personal agenda. They all together know they want the best interest of the club. Same in France, because I've seen the ultras of Nice and Marseille when I went to the game. It's amazing actually watching these people. That guy saying Cucurella is better than DeMarco. Cucurella is better than this. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, I honestly think Cucurella is getting really underrated. I've got to say, he's been very good.
He's horrific, bro.
No, he's not. How? Mo, why? Like, just one word, because I don't want to have this whole debate. But just...
he hides.
Right. Okay.
On the ball, he hides, and he acts like a tough guy off the ball. He hides. He's the only player. He is okay. He hides.
Hides. Okay, I'm gonna look out for it. I'll look out for it.
Okay. It is.
You won't be able to look out for it for a week though, because he's suspended because he's got a discipline problem.
It is Jonas out at the Emirates. Arteta is loved.
Yeah,
is that the women's manager?
Yeah, Jonas Advil. Get him gone. He's at this point. He's embarrassing.
Who's that? Who's Jonas?
The women's manager, Jonas Idvil. He's embarrassed. Given the standards, the fogging standards that we have at this club now, he's not living up to it at this point. Someone even graffitied in a tunnel the other day. Jonas out.
Rory, do you watch the women's football for Arsenal?
Occasionally, yeah. Not quite often. When the men's are playing, obviously a lot of it coincides, so I can't. But I keep up to date with it. Imagine this: we let our best striker go to Man City for free. Imagine that. And this guy, Miedma, and this guy Jonas,
she's amazing, isn't she? Right?
Yeah, and this fool goes, "Oh, we don't need her. I've got a plan." Wow. I'll tell you, imagine City let Haaland come to Arsenal for free, and Pep will probably get away with it, but no, it's a disgrace.
Anyway, listen, people, there is no time to talk about. We should leave something to next episode where we're going to talk about actually football, Premier League football. Arsenal playing Bournemouth with Saka's fit and Martinelli's fit. Liverpool and Chelsea, that would be fantastic. Enzo Fernandez is better than Barella. Listen.
I can't even start.
That guy is trolling, bro. It's trolling.
Come on.
That guy, let me tell you something. Enzo Fernandez is not better than Ward-Prowse. Let me just put it this way in the Premier League.
He was the other day, actually. Ward-Prowse had a shocker against us.
Ward-Prowse, yes. Oh my
he got sent off, didn't he?
The handball was crazy. But big up that guy for the support. Big up everybody that's supporting the channel. Before we go on, all the channels are in the description. Rory's going to go live today at 6:30 UK time. Talk about Saka being fit. I know that for a fact. And Martinelli MRI. You'll know more about it if you watch Rory Talks Football, about what is happening with Martinelli. So Rory Talks Football, 6:30 UK time. Go and tune in because Martinelli had an MRI. And if you want to know, watch Rory at 6:30.
Yes.
Nobit's channel is in the description as well. Dan's channel is in the description. Absolutely fantastic crew. Just Joe Football Show in the description. He's part of the show. We won't forget about him. He just couldn't make it today, of course. And Tom, who's looking somewhere, I don't know where. Are you in the top 6?
No.
You're not. All right. Okay. But guys, this is going to take you to HUSAM, where for some reason, they're going to talk about something. I don't know about. He has flawless and stuff. But tonight, I'm on Charlie's channel, as well at 6, talking Chelsea. And I'm on Flawless channel tonight at 9, talking about my journey, making it as a YouTuber, if you consider me a YouTuber, actually.
The Rational League best get a big mention. I will be eagerly waiting to hear you talk about the Rational League and how it's your favourite show. Because we all know it is.
Is it, though?
You wouldn't have... to be fair, when it starts off with just me and Nobbins, you have to deal with me for most of it. Probably not, but now that there's more people, yeah, definitely is.
It started with you, but Rory, I always had a show with Rory somehow. Always had a show with Rory on the channel. And then
No, 'cause it started with like me and Nobbins and you, and then you brought Rory over so it could be
then I kicked
Liverpool,
you out.
Arsenal.
You know that I put Rory with Nobbins and I kicked you out.
Yeah, and then you brought me back, and then it ended up being Liverpool, Arsenal, City for the title race, and then that quickly faded away because we were no longer in said title race, so it just became a Liverpool, Man City, Arsenal title race, and me in the corner going, we fucking lost again. And then in the summer, you were like, let's bring on more people, and then Dan came on, and then we had lots of great guests. Although one thing I've noticed, never replaced me if I'm not here. Never been another Liverpool fan.
I never replaced you.
Exactly. I'm irreplaceable, people.
Big up everybody that is here. Make sure to get us to 400 likes. We're that close to 400 likes. Subscribe to the channel if you're new people, and we'll see you guys soon. We're out of here, people.